Welcome to the Magical Mystery School, and thank you so much for coming back for your weekly update, September 5th, 2025. I almost said 2026. And what we do in these videos is we're basically looking at what's happening around this week, around the 5th. And because I'm kind of focusing these videos on people who probably have families, they work full-time, they don't have a heck of a lot of time, but they're into astrology and they want to stay up on, you know, what's happening here from week to week. Okay, so like for example, tonight we have Uranus going retrograde. So we're going to talk about that. And then on September 7th, we're going to have a full moon between from Virgo to Pisces. But it's going to be an eclipse, so that's going to be super, super cool. So we're going to be talking about all that, but first off, I want to talk about this yod some more here, because this yod, it's going to keep coming up. I looked ahead a little bit, and more of this to come. But anyway, you know, when we talk about Virgo, and this yod is, you know, it's a 150-degree angle here and a 60-degree angle here, and that's our geometry. 150 and 150 is 300, plus 60 is 360. And any octagon, and here's your 9th grade geometry, closes on itself, it has to equal 360. Okay, all right. When we think, so here the outlet point is Virgo. So we've got all this kind of uncomfortable, irritable energy pointing down here at Virgo people. And I'm really saying this is my August 21st to 26th. Definitely anybody, the August Virgos, you're going to be feeling this. And there's another biggie coming up here too with that square. We'll talk about that too. But you know, when we think about Virgo, we think about modesty, they're, you know, have good work ethics, into detail, want to be of service, like things in order and practical, and want to be efficient. Now, one of the negative things, they can be a little negative towards themselves, the worst part. But if they're negative towards you, just remember, deep down in their heart, they're telling you this because they want you to be a better person. So anyway, why we're focusing on this is that way back in June, if you remember, we had Mars activated this point. August 22nd, the Sun activated this point. And you guys with that August, write down these dates and look back on your calendar. September 2nd, Mercury made this yod configuration. And then on September 20th, Venus is going to come through here. So you can see this is getting a lot of action here. So you folks that have that beginning of those August Virgos, watch out for sure. Now, because this is coming in from Pluto on this direction, this is deep, deep under the surface. You know, Pluto, the god of Hades, some really deep stuff in there, but some great awakenings too. If you're willing to look at the dark, you'll see the light. And then the other side of this coming down is this Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And this is, you know, this is where we're bobbling back and forth between, oh, I want to have boundaries and rules and laws. And it's like, oh, I just want to go sit out on my air mattress and float around in the pool, you know, that kind of thing. So it's a very different energies, but we've talked about that a lot. Okay. The other thing with this Virgo outlet point for this yod is that, and they're also called the finger of God, and I call it the fickle finger of fate, because just stuff is gonna, for you Virgo types, and maybe in a little bit of late Leo, these things may be coming in at you kind of like almost out of nowhere. Those are the kinds of things you really need to think about. Do I want to let go? Study it, look at it, all that good kind of stuff. Okay. Let's see. And the other reason I wanted to touch on this one, and I don't know if you can hear that or not, but my cell phone's going off. So I'm going to put you on pause for just a second. Sorry about that, but that alarm would have kept going. It was actually an alarm. It would have gone on the whole time. Anyway, okay, so the other reason, the other thing about Virgo, besides all these other things we were talking about, the practicality and the earthiness, because remember, Virgo is mutable earth, is that health is a big deal. So I noticed, last week, or I guess it'd be the end of August, the orange one basically kind of disappeared. And I kind of glanced at that, and the main thing I could see is the moon was in Scorpio when he did his little disappearing act. So maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe he had to go down into the underworld for a while. And the other thing that's really concerns me is this RFK Jr. and the vaccines and that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe people don't know, but I mean, measles, I mean, if a young adult, someone in their 20s gets measles, they can die from that. I mean, I'm a retired university professor, and this is many years ago. We had one semester where a few people got measles and they had to go to the hospital. I don't think anybody died. I don't remember that. But, and after that, to register for a class, you had to have your measles vaccination. So I don't know how that's going to go. And also with polio. I mean, I remember a girl in our neighborhood got polio, and she had to go through the wheelchair and the crutches and the braces on her legs, and it was very, very, very sad, very sad. So anyway, okay, so that's why I wanted to highlight this yacht again, to keep this in your mind, because it's not going away. It's going to be in operation for a while. Okay, let's talk about tonight with this Uranus going retrograde at 9:51 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And all the times I use are basically Pacific Daylight Time at 1 degree Gemini, 28 minutes. So very, very, very super early. Now, Gemini is a mutable air sign, and just mutable earth. Pop quiz, what does that mean? Mutable, mutable, that means there's a square, an uncomfortable, difficult energy. And just remember, this goes cardinal fixed mutable, cardinal fixed mutable, cardinal fixed mutable, okay? And like I said, for those of you who really want to go with astrology, you got to memorize this stuff. I don't think there's any other way around that. So the mutables are going to be squaring. Pisces is a mutable, and then Sag is the opposite. So these are going to be, difficult, but these are going to be, two different opinions, two opposites. And, Uranus is pretty erratic energy. So expect, there could definitely be some blow-ups with this air fire. But also just, things could go screwy too for you Pisces folks and Virgo folks. And it's those same ones, I'll call these my February Pisces and my November Sages. That very, very early degrees here that you need to pay special attention. Now, those of you who have air signs, and remember it goes fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water. So Gemini is an air sign. So pop quiz, what kind of aspect is going to be made with the other air signs? A trine, okay? So that's Libra's air and Aquarius is air. So we're going to get some really nice flowing energy. So those of you who are kind of like that, what would you say, September Libras, is that right? And Aquarius, you would have to be January Aquarius. So those folks, you're going to get, actually, some things may come out of nowhere at you, but it'll be good. It'll boost you, keep you moving, basically. Now, this is what's so powerful about Uranus going retrograde is the station point. Remember, it's like, here comes Uranus to the station, and it stops and lets out all the people and moves on. So that's what station means. But just remember, so that station point is the most important. The fact that it is retrograde is, it might quiet it down a little bit, put it on mute, be a little bit more interior, that sort of thing. Maybe be a little more personal than impersonal. Because remember, these outer planets, they're not, we have the personal planets and then the transpersonal planets. Transpersonal, Jupiter and Saturn, because they're sort of in between. But, just remember, they go retrograde, all these outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they're retrograde about 5 months out of the year. So, the fact that it's retrograde isn't so much, but the station point, super important, okay? Oh, and with Uranus going back into Taurus, remember Taurus is fixed Earth, and this Taurus in the second house is where we make our daily money, and it's very involved with the Earth movements with Uranus there. So during that period that Uranus goes back into Taurus, we could be doing some reevaluation, especially about these tariffs, I'm thinking. That's the big financial thing I'm thinking about. And then going back into the Earth sign here, Uranus may kick Earth's butt one last time, and we may have some earthquakes and that kind of thing. Okay. Let me just show you this wobble here again. You're probably, we've seen this a million times. And remember that a wobble is basically just what Uranus is doing here. It came through Taurus, went into Gemini, turned around, retrograding back into Taurus, and then it'll go direct back into Gemini. So that's what I'm calling a wobble, when a planet's retrograding back and forth between two signs. Same with Neptune and Pisces, or Neptune and Saturn here. They're going back and forth between Aries and Pisces. Pluto did that in 2024 between Capricorn and Aries, or Aquarius, excuse me. So here we are. Here you can see there's Uranus going retrograde. And again, I apologize. I think when I put this together, I was looking at an Eastern Standard Time calendar. So apologies. But there's that Uranus going retrograde. Here on November 7th, you see it goes retrograde. It's going back into Taurus. Okay. Then it doesn't go direct until February 2026. You can see how long it's like 5 months that it's retrograde. And then it will finally go back into Gemini on April 27th. And again, this wobble isn't, when we get, whoa, I just bumped my camera. When we get, is that right? Okay. Anyway, when we get done with this down here, it's not like everything's going to go back to normal and everything's going to be fun and all figured out and no worries. It's just going to mean we're going to quit going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between these different energies with such big planets too. I mean, these are like our social structure planets, the collective, that kind of thing. Okay. So then let's move on to the full moon eclipse, and I'll go ahead and take these off. And that full moon is in Pisces. Okay, so we've got the sun in Virgo, and it's happening right about 15 degrees. So I'm going to put this right smack in the center, and the same with the moon. So remember, a full moon is always when the sun is shining directly on that moon and totally lighting it up, right? Oh, and it happens at 11:09 a.m. September 7th at 15 degrees Pisces, 23 minutes. Now, eclipses are kind of known for being a real time of change, when we can really start letting things go. So if you've got things that are beginning and ending and that kind of thing, this is a time to really think that through. Do you really want to let go of these things? If so, this might be the time to do it. And so it really acts kind of like a super full moon, basically. So we'll be doing, during this time, there'll be some closures going on. This could be with relationships, people. It could be events in your life that change or things like that. So just remember it could be finishing up and starting, or finishing, I guess, and letting go of just about anything, really. Now, so look and see if you can find where Virgo or Pisces is in your own chart, so you can see what areas of your life are being lit up by this. Now, and also with the moon in Pisces, this is mutable water, so very emotional. So there's going to be this struggle between don't cry, cry, don't cry, cry, that kind of thing. And this is just me, my personal thing is that I see eclipses as more for the collective and society, more powerful than it is for the individual, but that's just me. Okay, now I want to show you a little bit more about this, because remember, because eclipses only happen when the sun and moon are near the nodes, okay? Oops. I said, why do I have two north nodes? Because you just have to turn it upside down, girlfriend. Okay, so moon is up here really close to that north node in Pisces. It's at 18 degrees, and the sun's down here close to the south node. Now, I'm going to do a drawing for you, and I hope it works out okay. And to show you how this works a little even more clearly. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to jump in and see what happens here. See if I can do this. Okay, so this is the sun. We'll just do that. And we'll color it red. And we'll put the earth right here. And it's not in the middle, but hopefully you know it's a circle. Okay, and let's make the earth green. Okay, so what we've got here is the earth is going around the sun, and that's called the ecliptic. And what the ecliptic is imagine this orbital path as being like a big CD or a DVD or something like that. A plane, just a big round disc sitting here. That's what the ecliptic is. It's this two-dimensional plane that extends out forever, okay? And then we have the moon going around the earth. And let's see if I can do this okay. We'll put the moon right there. Whoops, I made the moon bigger than the earth. Oh well. And we'll color it blue. Okay. So, the moon, as you can see, is orbiting the earth. Okay, that makes sense, right? Well, oh shoot, but I didn't put that moon in the right spot. Okay, it's all right. I'm going to just keep going. All right, so typically for a full moon, right, we have the sun is just shining full bore on that moon, right? And it's just brightening it up totally. Well, with an eclipse, what happens is this moon's orbit has to be yes, okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, so where the moon's orbit intersects the ecliptic, or the orbit of the earth, we have the north node and the south node. Okay, so these are because the moon is so close to these nodes, I mean, it doesn't look like it on this sketch, but just remember for this eclipse, the nodes are at 18 Pisces and the moon is at 15 Pisces. What that means is that, and I'm sorry, this is a little off kilter here, as the earth keeps moving, right? it's going to line up and it's going to cast a shadow onto the moon as this sunlight comes down and casts this shadow. Oops, I shouldn't use a pencil. I'll use. Okay, here comes the sun's rays, and it's hitting the earth, right, and casting this shadow onto the moon. Sorry, I didn't have my earth in exactly the right spot, but close enough, hopefully. So that's why we see that shadow go in front of the moon. And so that's why it's a good time for release, because we can see, I'm probably making it worse. We can see that we can see the moon when it's totally full, but then when the shadow passes it, we're releasing, we're in the dark, we don't know where we are, and then the moon comes out and becomes totally full again. So in that few hours even, we can let go of a lot of stuff, okay? So main thing about this, my crummy drawing here, let me show you here's my practice drawing. That's even better, okay? Where I had these lined up nicely. But you can see, just for your own knowledge, the nodes are not a planet or anything. They're just a point in space. And they're always where the moon's orbit intersects the ecliptic, okay? And that's why when the moon is on that ecliptic, it's close to that, then that's why we get the eclipse. All right, I hope I didn't confuse you anymore. Hopefully I made it clearer. So just remember too, with this being Virgo and Pisces, this is a great time to get that negative thoughts out of your mind, that you're going to be able to catch those ideas and substitute more positive thoughts. And they can simply just be, you know, don't try to make up a positive thought that's impossible. Make it a step to where you want to be and how you want to be. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you next week next week, September 19th, Venus goes into Virgo. September 21st is our new moon, and our second new moon in Virgo. And so that's why I'm thinking this health stuff. This is maybe a health month for you know who. September 22nd, Mars goes into Scorpio. Ooh, that's going to be fun. And then on the 22nd, equinox, when the sun goes into Libra. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much, and remember to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye!